Hey, what's up, guys? This is Akita Letitia here with Couples Connect.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Couples Connect. This episode I'm actually really excited about. We have none other than my family, my cousin, my peoples, my squad. We got Shaneekah on the line with us. Everybody give it up for her. Yeah. Looking beautiful as ever. But yeah, so we got my cousin on the line, and she's a single mother.
Yeah, single in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see what that experience is like and how that has been, you know, especially during this time of quarantine.
We're definitely living in crazy times. Matter of fact, we ain't even let Shaneekah speak. We taking over the meeting.
Welcome.
Hey.
Let's dive right in. Let's just start asking questions.
All right. Seriously, yes, definitely. So we had some topics that we sent you and we wanted to talk about with this. Coming from somebody who, like Tisha said, is single in this 2020 season right now. We know a lot has happened. A lot has happened in this year, and we're not even finished yet. So you probably experienced a lot of stuff. So one of the first questions that we had was, will you read it? Go ahead. You got a nice Zoom voice.
I do. Okay, so I do. Okay, never mind. All right, so what has dating been like for you during this quarantine? How has it been different? Has it been happening? So no.
Well, they've tried, even with the restrictions in place. That they're texting because now they're in the house and they're looking through the Rolodex, trying to reach out, see what's going on, trying to get that old thing back.
Yeah.
And some of them are just straightforward, whether it's texting me directly or if I happen to be out and about, or if it's somebody that I've already known who now all of a sudden has an interest in me.
Has some time.
One person, there's one that comes to mind. He was just ready to go full throttle, let's hang out, all this other stuff. And I'm like, bruh, we got to stay in the house and you're not coming to my house. So I think we just need to, kind of talk on the phone or whatever. But it's been a little different, a little slower than usual, only because we're not able to do a lot of things like we normally do. So it's been different in that you have to take it a little bit slower and use extra precaution now with everything that's going on. But
yeah. Wow. But that's interesting. You like mask or no mask? We can't we can't be chilling like that like we did a year ago.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Let me ask you something. Do you feel like ever since the quarantine, you feel like more guys are reaching out to you, or because they're kind of they're home now, or they're less busy?
Yes, both of those. And I'm to the point where I'm like, okay, I want you to reach out because it's genuine.
Yeah.
And not because you're idle and you're just let's flip the coin and see what happens. But I think it's been a quite of a spike, I might say. But even in that, it's in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, how's this going to work after quarantine when certain restrictions are taken away and now you have more freedom? Is it going to be the same energy or, or not? So that's kind of been my experience.
So what are some key things to help you recognize that it's not genuine? It's not so genuine. You're just
I'm really big on energy and wordplay. I take what people say and kind of use that to feel them out. So if I ask certain questions and the answers that I get are more towards a bachelor mentality or versus somebody that's a little more serious and consistent with their responses, I've pretty much been going off of the content of their conversation. Like, let's see. But I don't really overthink it because I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, it's going to be what it's going to be. Either this person is going to be serious or not. So.
Yeah. Time will always tell, right?
Yeah.
Time will
Yes.
always tell. Do you hear like when you know somebody's really interested in you, do they talk a different way or do they say things differently? Like what do you pick up on with that?
Yeah. With the men that are serious, their conversation is more in depth. It has more substance to it. Whereas we could talk about anything from A to Z, and because the energy and the vibes are there, the conversation just flows where we're talking about anything from buying a house or stuff with kids or future plans, future goals, and different things like that. Not just necessarily things of like a sexual nature or things like that. So
That's usually like the more that like solid relationships are those people that you can have those deep conversations with and really like feed off of each other's mind instead of just like what you see, you know what I mean, and how the
yeah.
person looks.
So what was like one of the worst texts or DMs that you got since you've been in quarantine? Like you was just like, please, what is you doing?
So this one guy, let's call him K.
Okay.
We'll do that. So Kay kind of reached out because he knew me from like years back or whatever, and he started talking to me, like I guess trying to feel me out to see if I was dating or seeing anybody. And once he kind of figured out that I wasn't, based off our conversation, he kind of got straight to like the sexual part of things, like, oh, telling me what he could do to me and just talking all crazy. And I'm like, okay, it's not that serious. And I'm definitely not in a position where I have to accept something like that.
Yeah, that's what
For
I'm
me,
talking
that's
about.
just like that's a red flag to me. I'm not in a position where I have to accept anybody that comes my way just for the sake of having somebody. Again, that's a major turnoff for me. I'm more interested in the content of the character of a man and what he has to offer as a whole. And if the majority of your conversation is of an explicit manner, then 9 times out of 10, me and you ain't going to make it past this conversation right here that's about to end.
I know
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. And, you know,
Yeah.
I love how
And
you
I
said
think
it.
what made it worse for me, it was like, even when he was like telling me about his situation, he don't even have his stuff together. I'm like, dude, after quarantine is over, you don't have a license, you don't have
Listen,
a car. Like, seriously? You
you
know?
you you had
And
at
you
least
think
three.
it's okay to try and date me.
Yeah.
Say that again?
No, I was gonna say he had at least 4 months to do something to get something right. He in the house for 4 months.
At least I thought. I mean, I don't
Do something.
know.
Like, look, babe, I learned how to
But
knit.
yeah, that
You know
was
what
one of
I mean?
Yeah, but that was one of the worst ones because it's kind of like I felt like it was a waste of my time
Yeah.
because that's not the wave that I'm on. You know, I'm more of getting to know a person as a whole and kind of judge them based off that. So
Yeah. And I love how you said you said it in a way I've never heard it before. You said I'm not in the position to just accept anything. It's like what you're saying is how I'm built, how I'm made, how I've decided in my mind. You know what I mean? Like I'm not in the position to even entertain that because that's not who I am. I've never heard that said like that before. So that's like a great way to express it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Was there something
yeah,
that
and
transition like for you to get to that point, like where I'm sure you weren't always there in the beginning of your dating journey. So like
Mhm.
was there something that happened that kind of clicked or transitioned for you to be that way?
yes, and I was actually about to answer that before you asked, so that's confirmation.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
So not to toot my own horn, but I'll just be transparent. It is what it is. a lot of different guys were reaching out to me, wanting to date, go out, hang out, get to know me, whatever. And a good number of them, I just wasn't interested, from anything from A to Z. And then I literally prayed to God to just blow his breath on my dating situation and how I went about it and how I stood in rest waiting for somebody that I could know for sure that was a good man. And from that prayer, whether it sounds cliche or not, I'm being real and I'm being transparent. I just started I started being in a position where my tolerance for certain things just got very, very low, which made it very easy for me to just be like, yeah, no, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was the breaking point when I feel like I was sifting through garbage, if you want to call it that, to get to the treasure. And
Yeah.
I feel like I heard God say to me, just rest, just wait, and your king is coming to you. And I don't want to mess that up dealing with Joe, Jack, Tom, and Harry when my husband to be could potentially see me hanging out with these different men and doing different things with them and be like, oh, well, she's taken, and then miss out on that opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so good.
Yeah.
That is so good. It's like you prayed for God to breathe on the situation. It's almost like he breathed on you,
Yeah.
Yes.
to help increase your knowledge of who you are and who he's, called you to be and how he's preparing you for the person he's called to you. And it seems like that just changed your whole perspective. Like,
Yeah.
ain't nobody got time to be messing with these.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think too, like, a lot of times when we like are doing other things, like we like to include God in it. Oh, God, help me with this, God, help me with that. But for some reason, when we get to the part of like dating and relationships, we want to have control over that. And we don't necessarily want God to control everything. You're like, oh, but I love him, or but I want this person, knowing that they're not good for you, knowing that they treat you wrong. You know what I mean? But I think what you said was so powerful because you understood that I cannot do this on my own. I can't depend on myself alone to make the right decisions. So I need God to breathe on it. You know what I mean? To give me the direction that I need.
And I think she used the word rest.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, when we met, right before we met, I was just kind of like, I am done, Lord. I don't need nobody. I'll be all right. I'll just take care of my kids, like, for real. Like, if the rest of my life.
And then she saw me.
And the rest of my life was being Jesus. Like, I was so good and, like, content with just, like, being by myself. And or with the potential of me having to do this by myself and be by myself. And
what
so
happened?
no, but I just say that because it just put me like in a place of rest. Like I was just like I wasn't looking for nothing. I wasn't thirsty for nothing.
But those are the times when you find the one that you're looking for. You know?
That's the place that you gotta be.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I think it illuminates you anyway. I think it makes you glow and like makes you more attractive to people.
I mean, especially for guys, it's almost like I used to mentor young boys, youth group or whatever, and it's almost like I used to explain it in a way that when boys play a video game, right, and when the video game is super easy and they beat the whole game, what do? They go to the next game. They find a more difficult game. But when a game is a good game, good quality game, and it's difficult to beat, then they stick with that game, until forever. You know what I mean? And I know it's a very elementary way of thinking about it, but sometimes the most simplistic ways are the best. But the harder you make the I guess the pursuit for the man, the more he's going to be intrigued by this person because there's something of value. If it's easier to get to, then once he got it, you know what I mean? He's gonna be bored with it or whatever, or I'll look
Mhm.
for the next thing. But you got to place value on yourself, and that's for guys and girls, but or women, guys and women. But you got to place value on it, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean that's great. That's great. Um, so we're gonna go on to our next
Is my
question.
music too loud?
Huh?
We don't even
Is
hear
my
no
music?
music. You
Oh, good, because I got
I'm
Lego
trying to
playing in
jam
the
out.
background. So,
I'm trying to jam out. No. Um, so the next question we had was, what advice do you have for others based on your experience? What advice do you have for other singles out there?
for single women, especially single mothers, I know it can be difficult. Well, let me not use difficult. I'll speak from my perspective. Just stand strong in your spot, understand who you are in Christ, um, and just know that you don't have to settle. A lot of men try and take not a lot, there's a good number of men who would rather look for the easy way out and don't be that easy way out. A man that really wants you, at least I think, he'll fight for you and he'll make sure that he does what he needs to do to make sure that you understand that you are special to him. Um, and if you have children, do your best to create that balance between mommy time and not mommy time, because it's not always about doing whatever for the kids, because as long as you take care of what you need to do with the kids, you need to make sure you're taking time out for yourself as well.
Mhm.
And just be cognizant of the signs when somebody is just not for you. Don't overlook things just for the sake of being able to move forward, or
Yeah.
for the sake of saying, oh, I still got a man, because you're going to waste your time. If you see the red flag early on, in the middle, or whenever, just gracefully bow out. It's that simple. There's another one coming.
Oh, I love that.
Yep.
I love that. Not settling
I know.
and being able to walk away. I think that a lot of women find a challenge in that space. Just not, the having to decide between being alone or just settling with somebody. Like a lot of people, a lot of women sometimes go to the side of
Mhm.
settling as
Mhm.
opposed to being good. And I think also just being good, like loving you, like
Mhm.
loving
Yeah.
to spend time with you, do stuff for you, and really use this season of life
Yeah.
to do all that you want to do while you are single.
Right.
Yes.
Once you get in a
Yes.
relationship, that stuff is hard to just do you.
Yeah.
And you know what else helps me? It's so funny. Sometimes I'm talking to my friends and I'm like, when I start dating and we get serious, this joker gonna want to come spend the night. He gonna take up room in the bed. He gonna have to use my bathroom. Like,
Look,
I have to
that's a
cook
whole
Like,
nother
am I
conversation we
ready
need
for
to.
that?
like,
Then you could be like,
some,
oh boy, what do you want now? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I'm like, some of this stuff, I try to say like some stuff while being single,
hmm,
enjoy it. Because once
yeah,
that significant other comes in the picture, it's a
right,
total different ball game. Because I've been there before. I've been where I want to go turn up, and he's sitting on the couch looking at me all sad, and my girl's in the front, and we ready to turn up and everything. And
uh-huh,
it's like, what do you do? Because you're in a relationship with somebody that you could potentially see as your husband. That's what I look at this point. Can I see myself with this man for the rest of my life?
yeah,
When I first meet a man, am I saying, oh, he's going to be my husband? Absolutely not.
right,
But I look at certain qualities in a man to see if I see any potential of this being a long-term situation. I'm not
Worth your time.
into, yeah, I'm not into wasting my time. My time is valuable. My time is precious. I got this hair regimen going. My edges are
listen,
Yes,
nice.
yes,
get it, you got to get it,
You know what
cuz,
I'm
get it,
yes.
saying?
cuz,
Got my natural hair regimen going. You
uh-huh,
know, the kids acting right now.
hmm,
You know, I've been doing some spring cleaning during this quarantine. Like, this type of stuff is important to me. You're not going to interrupt my vibe,
Right.
boo. It's
Right.
not.
I hear you.
Nope.
I hear you. And you're gonna need somebody who is on that same wave with you, that
Yes.
has their things that they're working on and they trying to level up on. You can't just be the only one and you trying to drag them from the door. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm not dragging anybody. I even tell my sons, like, with certain things, like, I understand I am your mother. However, this is a task that I am confident you can handle. Now go along,
Right.
son.
Go and be great. Go
I
and
had
be
to
great.
use
Yeah.
that word. This is a task.
Let the Lord use you, son.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
yes.
Exactly.
That's what I'm gonna say. When they come to me asking me for food and stuff, like, I believe that this is a task that God has gifted you
Look,
with the
Yes.
ability to do.
You are anointed for this,
Yes.
child.
Yes, go forth and
Yes.
produce. I'm using it. I am using it.
she's gonna start using that tonight.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm serious.
She's gonna start using
Listen, we
Those are the
family,
words.
so it's all love.
that.
I'm using it.
Oh, that's crazy.
So you want
all
to
right.
let her ask questions?
Yeah. So the last thing, I guess you wanted to see if what questions you may have for a married couple that you just wanted to see, what advice they can give you, or what questions you may have for them.
Are y'all gonna be transparent? Are y'all gonna keep it real?
Of
We will
course.
keep it real.
Of course.
Okay.
My face gonna be red. But go ahead.
So the first question would be for Tisha.
I'm first. Okay, go ahead.
What was the first indicator that you looked at to say, you know what? I think Akita is the real one. You know what?
Yes. I'm not even gonna look at him. So the first thing, no, it was not bad. The first thing was, he was persistent, consistent, and
You mean like you make it sound like it's a creepy way.
no, like
you gotta explain that one.
Okay, for me, I was very, I had come from a bad situation, so I was very very, I didn't trust
anybody.
Yeah, I didn't trust anybody. I think I made it very hard, and even in that, he was still very persistent, and I say consistent, right? Persistent, consistent, and also willing to take on all of us, because I had 3 girls already. So I had 3 girls. I was divorced. I wasn't working. Like I didn't think I was like, you're taking on a lot. Like, So I'll say that was the one that made me be like, he's serious. And I think we went for a little while where we were dating, but I wasn't really, I didn't really book right. I wasn't trying to get screwed over. I wasn't trying to do that anymore. But I would definitely say his consistency and his persistence and his willingness to accept us all.
Good.
Was it good again?
I'll give it to her.
That was hard, right? Was that hard? That was difficult.
Word? No, just kidding. I'm joking.
I was ready to leave at the drop of a dime. Okay, never mind. We're not doing this no more. I was like, who you look at? You looked at her? What? No, it's over. So.
No, that's called jealous. You were very jealous. You were very jealous.
No, she was just making sure, Keita.
Yes.
That's what making sure.
Listen,
yes.
I could be like, that's my cousin.
Girl power.
Like, exactly. Look, we family. We supposed to be family. You gotta.
And Tisha's my cousin too.
I'm like, did you like her compliment? What happened? But I was very bruised. I was very bruised. And
she came from a place where it put up certain walls that she couldn't even see on the other side of those walls to even allow somebody to come in. You know what I mean?
Patient. He was very patient.
So I had to, on my end, I had to break down the wall so she could see what was on the other side. Because the wall she built up had blinded her. You know, you were blind to what I was trying to. No.
I don't think a lot of people, though. I don't think a lot of guys will put that work in. Like they'll do that initial stuff, but they won't do that stuff to like start removing layers and be patient and still be consistent. And even in my various meltdowns or whatever, still be consistent. And so that to me was like, well, maybe. So now.
You know she was listening.
Next question.
No.
Give him a good one.
She looked at my eyes and she was like, I'm sorry, who? What?
No, I was like, can't trust them. Can't trust them because everybody else gonna be looking at them eyes. Ain't got time for it. That's exactly.
So, Akita, for you,
yes.
What was the main thing about Tisha that made you want to lock that down?
Lock it down.
I know.
I like your word.
The main thing meaning physically.
Be honest.
Or
whatever it was. It could be physical. It could be whatever. It's whatever was, you know.
Well, I mean, to be honest, the first thing that got me to recognize her.
Yes.
I mean, of course, you know, she's beautiful. My wife has got it going on. But the thing that drew me to her, I think, was her
Gather yourself now.
What was it? What was it? What was it in the church house?
What?
That first got you.
It was her posterior. It was her backside. I'm a backside person, you know. And it's nicely shaped. It's nicely shaped, you know. It's got the curvatures and all that good stuff. And that's what was, you know, maybe like, oh,
in the church.
Hi, you know, my name is Akita. How are you? Type of thing. But that's what kind of got my attention to you. But then
not got your attention. What was it about her that made you be like, okay, you know what?
So then the thing that made me be like she was the one was I think was her conversation with me. Because I have been in, you know, plenty of other relationships where you know, girls beautiful and you know, shape nice and all the good stuff that, you know, on the outside we would like to see, but just the conversation wasn't there, the connection wasn't there, and I think that she placed a different. She calls it that, you know, she wasn't trusting anybody and she was hurt, but I saw it as, you know, a value on her, like she just wasn't willing to take anything, you know what I mean, and that. It, you know, for me, placed a value on her that was like, oh, you know, like she is something to pursue. She's someone to pursue.
I raised the stakes. Right? Is the stakes raise the
standard,
bar?
The bar. Raise the bar.
Okay.
She raised the bar, and I felt like, you know, okay, there's some value on this. This is not going to be like some, you know, easy grab and go. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that intrigued me. It intrigued me. And as I got to know her more and we talked more, then I started to realize that we were on the same wavelength mentally. And our conversations would be so like in depth and so interesting. And I don't know, it just, it pulled me in a different way that I've never, you know, been attracted to somebody before.
Yeah. Okay. I'll add that I didn't raise the bar to be like, this is the list that I'm gonna have for him.
Yeah.
It was just like, really, no, I need this. Like,
right.
Like I can't do this anymore. I'm not interested in this anymore. Like I think also in my I guess like hurt and anger or whatever, I was super clear in what I didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was real clear in what I didn't want.
And I think too, I think a part of me felt like I had, I don't know, it's weird to explain, but it felt like a part of me felt like I had like a responsibility over her and over her kids, even though we weren't married. You know what I mean? Even though we weren't married, we were just dating. I felt like, because I knew about her past, I knew about the things that she, had went through, and I knew that we were connecting on a level I couldn't explain. And I felt like that was God telling me that I had a responsibility over her and the kids. Because there's a lot that went on where, I kind of helped her, even before we tied the knot. I helped her in a way that, I guess a husband would help before we got married. But I just felt like I had like a responsibility kind of over her.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how long have you been married, Akita?
12 years. You ain't gonna get me.
Nice.
12 years. I see how you single me out.
Akita,
I see how you single me out.
you
12 years. 12 years strong. 12 years strong.
12 years strong.
Yep.
And growing.
Yeah.
Still growing.
Nice.
Yeah. We not perfect by no means. We still got our issues and ups and downs, but it's a test of time that tells the healthiness and the healthiness and the quality of a relationship, So
Yeah. You got any more questions for us?
Yes. So what advice would you give a single person? And that's good because Tisha, you were in a situation where you already had children and things like that. So what advice would you give a single woman that is dating in terms of how to move forward and what to do when you're with, like, if you're on a date or just dating in general? What advice would you give to a single woman that's just out there dating?
A single woman or a single mom?
Single mom.
Single mom. I definitely, one thing that we did have was we had a lot of accountability and like support, and also like other male, like older male and older female people around us that kind of like gave a lot of wisdom and insight. So like for the kids, well, they kind of already knew him because we went to the same church, but I would give, my advice would be to, once you're in that, the man and you know that you're going into a serious situation, you definitely want to incorporate the kids, but I think you want to be very mindful of their, where they are. Like, you really want them to be a part of that process. You want them to be comfortable. The guy needs to be able to develop relationships with the children individually. It's important, especially if your kids are younger, because everybody's gonna have to merge together and grow together, and this person's gonna become a father figure, and it could get real chaotic if they haven't had an opportunity to bond and and to click.
Especially when the biological father could still be in the picture at times, which also adds another dynamic to it. So,
and you want to know the guy. You want to be able to not just assess him. You want to assess the people he's around. You want to assess like his family. You want to, because you started to bring. So I had girls. So for me to bring him around the girls, there's already instantly like you get all that. Sure, you watch, you watch some girls, you watch you do want to do that. So I think you just really want to be prayerful, and you want to make sure that you have other people around you that are involved in the accountability of them, because he had people like other men that we both knew that were older that I think
gave wise counsel and just somebody to bounce things off of. And I think from even from the guy's standpoint, that they have to understand that they're not just signing up just for one person. Like you're signing up for an entire family that has already been established, and there's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of patience. There's a lot of you ain't my daddy, and there's a lot of those things that you will have to deal with and that you're signing up for, you know. And there's a long period of time where you may put so much into the family as what do you call it, a bonus dad, or as a bonus father. There may be a lot that you sow into it that you may not get the recognition for right away, or maybe ever. You know what I mean? From the kids. I'm not saying that that's our situation, but you
Of
have to
course.
you have to
There's
understand
a
and be
pace
okay
that
with it.
they're going to be on as
Right.
well, and like you have to be sensitive to that pace because we dated for like a year
Hmm.
before we got married, so it like helps, and we did things together. He had a son too, so
Hmm.
we incorporated the kids and stuff that we did together,
Yeah.
and we planned a lot of activities that were family
Yeah.
oriented.
And we were very intentional about keeping, because not everybody's gonna see positive.
What you guys are doing. So we were very intentional about making sure our circle was very small, and we didn't necessarily have everybody involved in the first year or 2 years or 3 years,
Mhm.
because we needed to create the culture that we wanted to see in our family.
And I'm trying to think about dating. I think we also, of course, there was a time when we just did stuff and we got to know each other
Yeah.
for probably
Mhm.
maybe like 5 or 6 months.
Hmm.
And then we started incorporating the kids and stuff. They always kind of knew him,
Okay.
but they didn't know that we were dating. It was just
Right.
kind of like a
And
friend.
that was
Okay.
intentional too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't want to bring everybody that you're dating around, the kids, this week is somebody, and then the next couple of weeks or whatever.
It's
You
somebody else.
you should be very intentional about who you bring around your kids. So
Right.
uh, she'll be right back. We gotta get the charger for the computer.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at my battery percentage too, like, okay, I'm good.
She's like, I'm done. Drop the mic. That's it.
From a male perspective,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on women who dress more provocatively versus a woman that dresses more conservative in terms of how serious you take her?
Yeah. Um, I feel like somebody will dress the way that they want that type of attention. And it's almost like when people say you dress for the job that you want. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If I wear a suit and tie, then I expect a certain type of job. I expect a certain type of respect and a certain type of attention from people. So I mean, I feel like if somebody's dressing so provocative that not just your person that you're dating or the person in your relationship is going to see that a certain way, then
Mm-hmm.
there shouldn't be any type of surprise if other people see the same thing. You know what I mean? And I know I feel like there should be something left up to the imagination. You know,
Hmm.
there should be
I
something.
think I think that, well, I don't know, but I'm
Yeah.
guessing. I think that you like want me to look nice.
Yeah.
And I mean, even for other people to see me look nice, but then there's a certain way that you only want to see me.
It's
as
got to be
opposed to-
done. Yeah, it should be done in a way that is still tasteful.
Right.
Still tasteful. Now, if we going out somewhere together and like we both like, we're gonna be lit and we're gonna dress, a certain way. We're gonna have
It
a
depends.
swag
Now, if you
on.
wanna wait for the weekend,
Then you know what I mean.
then I could.
But if I'm like you said, if I'm sitting on the couch watching the game or something, she about to go down the street, I'm like, where you going? Why you gotta dress like that? You know what I'm saying? Come back to your room, put something else on.
Like, if I was dressed like real provocative,
Mhm.
do you think we'd be here?
Oh
You-
yeah,
you-
no, we probably wouldn't be married. We probably wouldn't be married.
Really?
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me if you have a good girl, you know she's a good girl,
Uh-huh.
without a doubt, hands down. But she just
Well,
dressed kind of,
How provocative you talking about? I'm thinking you maybe talking about like she just wearing a shirt or something.
No, we probably talking about like a tight dress with like some cut off areas or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
fine.
But I'm saying if you would have met me
Uh-huh.
in the church pew with the
What you saying? If you dress like that in the church?
I'm just saying, like, if you would have, if that's how I would have been, would you have been looking at me as like, let me get to know her on a serious level, or you would have been like, let me just?
I probably would have still been
let you
intrigued.
go.
I would.
Yeah,
I would
let
have.
you-
I probably would have still been intrigued, and when we had conversation, then I would have found out that there's more to you than just how beautiful you are.
I think you would be coming at me with some old different stuff.
Right, but then we would have had conversation. You'd have been like, you know, my standard is here, or my bar is here, wherever you put it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I just think if it's done in a tasteful way, if it's not tasteful,
Okay.
if there's no balance. You know what I'm saying? If you just like whatever,
Because you don't like,
then
you want to feel like there's something for you. You don't want to feel like it's for
exactly.
everybody.
Like I don't want to feel like, you know, we gotta walk down the street and I gotta keep an eye out for every
'Cause
person
everybody's
that's
trying-
looking.
Right.
But I mean, and that's just for me. It's not the same for, you know, for every other guy. But for me, I just like if it's done in taste, you know, in tastefulness, then it's fine for me.
Now, in terms of who you hang out with, do you primarily hang out with only married couples, or it's a mix of single and married? Because I noticed, like, sometimes in certain circumstances, married couples, when they have adult time, they pretty much limit it to other married couples as well. And I'm like, well, if the other person that wants to hang out is single, I never got like how they could leave out a person that's single if it's like a group of married people, you know?
I think, okay, as a couple, like I definitely have single friends
Mm-hmm.
and I have married friends, married female friends that I, hang out with.
Right.
But I think as a couple, we hang out with we don't really hang out with a whole lot of couples, but when we do hang out, I mean, if it's a group of people, it might be single. No, because sometimes it would be single people there.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going out with friends, it can be single, not single, married, just in a relationship, all kinds of people. As long as you're bringing a good vibe, as long as you're there to have fun, and not try to start some mess, it's fine. Now when we hang out,
that's what I was getting to, because I feel like some married couples feel like to leave out that element of starting drama.
No, I
they'd
mean,
rather not have a single person in the mix.
I think it depends though. So I think it depends on the security of the people in the marriage. So like in the beginning, like I had those jealous issues, or because I had been cheated on and all this other kind of stuff, it probably wouldn't be the best equation if there were some single people that we knew that he used to be. That's a whole nother. I guess that he used to be friends with.
Well, you got
and I was kind of like, what we doing? So I mean, I think in that particular case, he really had to like back away from those friendships because
I had never been married, right? She had been married before, so she kind of was in that space before, and she knew like how it should work. I've never been in that space, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't hang out with my female friend like this, or you know what I mean? And I had to kind of learn that side of it, And
I think it depends, like if we both have a relationship with the people. I think it just depends on a lot of stuff, and then, but more importantly for the couple, I went in like if I was the single person, I would say try not to take it personally because it could be something going on with the couple that they have to work through, and it just maybe is best for them where they are to not be in that space. Like somebody could still be dealing with issues or tempted with something or
and I think especially if you are married, especially within the first few maybe like months or a year of your marriage, you want to make sure, like I said before, to create the culture that you want. So if in that first year you feel like you should just hang out with other married couples that are healthy, then do that until you get where you want to be, and then you can start hanging out with other people.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that was all the questions I had for now, unless you guys had anything else for me.
I guess since we're talking about this, I don't know how much time we have left, but how do you feel as a single person, as like when you're in those situations with like maybe married people or feeling excluded, or is there anything like in particular as a single person that you want to let us married folks know to stop doing or stop saying?
In that, just piggybacking off of that, sometimes I just found it a little weird that I see in certain group settings, married couples, I don't know if they feel like uncomfortable around like having a single woman around, you know? But it also piggybacked off of what you said, Tisha. That couple might be going through something weird. That man is still dealing with demons that got him in trouble maybe 6 months ago, 6 weeks ago, or 6 hours ago, you know? But me being a single person from the outside looking in, I don't know that. So I guess that's something that I could think about if I'm ever faced with that situation. Like, well, maybe dude is, you know, working on himself and they don't need to be in that type of space right now. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. I have a single friend who was talking to me about it before, and how she will always find herself, she wouldn't even be doing anything, but like she would kind of hear references to like, you know, such the wife is kind of not feeling you right now, or the, you know, and she was like, I don't do anything. Like, I don't do anything. And I was trying to tell her, I'm like, you know, that so has nothing to do with you. Unfortunately, you're the like mark or whatever, but half the time it has like absolutely nothing to do with you.
And it doesn't even have to be because of a single person. It could be two married couples. And, you know, one may get offended because somebody else, you know, said something or did something that they may be struggling with. So, you know, but listen, cuz you got some stuff, man. You spitting some hot fire.
Yes. We wasn't prepared.
Yeah, I told him transparent. I'm honest. We could even do a part 2. So I'm down for that.
We definitely
think of
need
some more
to.
questions, girl. She gonna have us up here spilling it all.
We definitely need to do a part 2, because this was like I knew you was gonna do great with the interview, but I think this was so like beyond what I even imagined it being. So I appreciate you so much. I see like you writing books somewhere, or you going speaking engagement somewhere.
Yes.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
The season that you're in.
Yeah.
I think there's always something that we can learn from our seasons, and sometimes we take it like it's just our life. We take it for granted, but people are really struggling. Like, I know people are struggling to get to the place where you've gotten, where you're just like, I value myself in a way that I can't even be bothered with this stuff anymore.
Yeah.
And some people are not even there.
Yep.
We know them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I've seen it, and I'm just like, nah.
Right. Well, you definitely got something. You definitely got something, and we appreciate you. Part 2 coming up, so make sure you're ready.
Thank you. Oh,
yeah, part 2.
Thank you for being on.
Yep.
No problem.
So until next time, guys, stay connected, stay in love.
Stay tuned in, stay love, stay healthy, stay happy. And drop your comments. Share the great Shaneekah over here giving her gems.
AKA Tasherah.
my cousin represented today. So definitely drop your comments in. Any other questions about single dating or marriage, drop it in there. Let us know your questions, and we hope y'all enjoy. We'll catch you next time.